What's up, my support fibro friends? It is a Brain Foggy Friday. Welcome to our discussion here. I am jumping on with a brain fog. Again, I'm working really diligently on my sleep, but these discussions are anything goes when we're coming into Friday and just saying hello to all of you out there. I am Melissa Talwar. I am the executive director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network. And I am also a board certified functional medicine health coach with additional training in functional nutrition and neuroscience. So jumping on here, and you know what's funny is like maybe we need a theme song. But the last video, one of the videos we did on sleep, that's why I'm going to return to it with this slide deck that you see, this image right next to my head right now. I wanted to return to a little bit more of the sleep tips. So I just wanted to relay to all our friends that that one video that was awesome. Like we had such a great conversation, got hijacked for some reason. They claimed copyright on my voice, which I was like, this is ridiculous. So I don't know what's going on in Facebook land, but we removed it. So I'm gonna cut it up, or I'm just gonna redo that type of live video again. That's why I also stopped the music countdown because things seem to be getting by spammers copyright because they attach it to a link and then you go to a page. It's really unfortunate. But if you are tuning in live, please definitely say hello, leave us a message. And if you're watching the recording, please do say hello. Please like and share this content. We appreciate hearing from you. So if you have topics you want us to cover in the future, definitely let us know. And I'd be happy to share with you like other topics because we're trying to dive in as a team to understand what topics the fibromyalgia community wants to hear. Now, before I kind of dive into the randomness of our foggy brain discussion, and I did have the theme song, it's a foggy day in the neighborhood for all of us today. So if you're struggling with brain fog, I get you. And this sleep is something that we're going to have to work on all together to get us back on track when it's like deep restorative sleep or some form of sleep and relaxation. But before I kind of get into that part of it, just a quick I have to give you guys a quick vent or a rant. I don't do this often, but again, I'm really struggling with some of the language that is used in the medical community for fibromyalgia. And it really takes its toll because I got an email. We've been doing some outreach to some providers for speaking at our conference in November. And this particular provider wrote back, well, fibromyalgia is really a wastebasket diagnosis, so I don't think you can build a conference around it. And I was like, okay, so whatever that says. And again, it just drives home this concept. I don't understand. I mean, we're way past, honestly, the discussion of fibromyalgia is real, question mark, wastebasket diagnosis. If we were having this discussion in the 80s and we could change the label, like maybe we could have come up with solutions then. But right now, when I think about it, in millions of patients that are diagnosed with fibromyalgia, it really does nothing for the conversation to have that said out loud. And I really challenge people that write that on social media and give that the label that is saying, well, fibromyalgia is in real diagnosis or it's wastebasket diagnosis. I'm going to challenge people that have posted that and really challenge you to really think about this as with the millions of people that are diagnosed. It adds no value to the world. We need solutions. So if you have a better solution for us, please, please, I invite you to create the solution as opposed to that language, because I know our community, we feel very disenfranchised. It's often we're thought about as this orphan, like, what do you do with this? We don't fit in properly in different places. So, but we need real solutions. We need the answers and solutions. And if you have that, please go ahead and move forward and create solutions for our community. So that's like my 1 minute rant vent for today because of how I feel about the situation. And again, there's nothing we can do to change that label on the top of fibromyalgia. So we have fibromyalgia as the diagnosis. And now we got to figure out solutions on how to help patients. And that's the idea of this. But again, if anyone has takes on this, I understand where it's coming from. Please do comment and let us know. Okay, so diving into some of the sleep stuff, I really wanted to share this. So I've been really working hard on my own sleep, like really hard. I think before my surgery, I was kind of getting it, but all this fight or flight in the middle of the night has really affected me. And so I've struggled with, and I've been watching a lot from Dr. Andrew Huberman, so Huberman Lab, and I watched his Q&A, but he has all the sleep videos that I would definitely check out. He has Perfect Your Sleep, which was sort of the first in the series, and then he has Master Your Sleep, which he came out with. And I'm listening to him to his talk, and it's very similar to my current struggle with sleep and what he gives for tips. And so I'm really working on correcting my light management with managing when I get early morning light, what type of light sources I'm getting to see if that's helpful, because a lot of the other things that worked before are not currently working for me, and I'm getting super frustrated because I need to get at least some amount of sleep. I've been able to live off of low amounts and do okay, but this is really a lot. I think the fight or flight response is there, and I've been trying to work on coursework for limbic systems and monitoring, management, mindfulness. But I'm finding that his videos have been really helpful. They're long, so you may want to break it up when you actually watch the videos and understand, like, with having light as a resource and the quality of light that we are getting in, this might be a good take, especially if you have tried supplements and those haven't been helping, or you are not helped by any medication. Because many of us are sensitive to medication and we do get reactions, and I could go on a tangent on my experience with that, but these are tools that you can definitely use. And so that's why I wanted to just open up this discussion with anyone again and bring it back to sleep. I'm going to probably do a lot more on sleep. I did create an older video on sleep part 1, so I'm not sure what happened to sleep part 2. Maybe I never got to sleep part 2. So bear with me as I'm working through some of these strategies for understanding sleep, because it's important and figuring this out. And I think a lot of our focus too, even in research, is treating the pain. But if there is something that can help us not only treat the pain and help us sleep better, I think it would make a really big difference for a lot of us. And those stages, and looking at those stages and what it is of getting deep, deep sort of restorative sleep. So, first, falling asleep. A lot of people have trouble falling asleep, and then you have to stay asleep. So, that's another whole trick. And then the deep restorative sleep, which has eluded me for quite a long time. And that's part of the puzzle. But right now, I'm working on the staying asleep part. I've been able to fall asleep, but trying to work on actually staying asleep. And I did want to bring that up because I have been watching his videos trying to figure out tools that I can use. So I'll go out in the morning and I make sure, just as my coffee is brewing, I'll take off my glasses and get some natural light sort of first thing in the morning. And then I'm trying to really work on that, minimizing some of the artificial light. And then also, I wear my amber glasses. I don't turn on lights. I'd be fascinated to learn from any of you out there. If you do wake up in the middle of the night, there's some philosophy that you have to go do something else, so that your bed is just your safe haven for sleep. But I'm curious, for anyone that does that, if you do happen to turn on the light and read a book, are you affected, or can you go back to sleep? Because I seem really sensitive to light. And if I do that, it wakes me up. So if I turn on lights and even a flashlight, I start to get starting to wake up slowly. And that's why I really have to avoid my phone. So I definitely turn my phone on airplane mode. I leave it out if I can. If I have to wake up oddly early, then I put it on airplane mode, and that I push it as far away, because light is something that's sensitive for me. So these are things that I learned. And when people ask me, one of my top tips in understanding this, and I'm curious to ask all of you, is really from this diagram, seeing this aspect of what it looks like here. Oh, I like that. So with the sleep mask. So that helps with the light. And this is an important piece of the puzzle that I always encourage people to do and understand. And that's why I had to share this image with you for the connection here within melatonin and what happens when you're trying to go to sleep, but you have the cell phone right in front of your face, and what it contributes to the decreased production of melatonin. And I've been talking about this lately with a few people, that there's actually science behind all of this. So, although present in a variety of tissues, within circulating melatonin is in the pineal gland. So, it's under the circadian clock transcription translation. So, we see this in this diagram. That's why I had to screenshot this for you. And it creates these loops in the SCN. So that's part of this brain. So you see how well it's connected to this light source. And this is why it makes a difference. And something I never understood when I went to a pain management program, I think in my early 20s. And one of the providers told me I needed to go take a walk at 6 a.m. And what was jarring for me, and I think I've said this story before, is the fact that she wanted me to go walk, one, as a pain patient in the morning at 6 a.m. And I was like, is she not understand chronic pain at all? But if she had mentioned some of the science, getting in the natural light, like that is what we're looking for, kind of moving my body a little bit. I get it. That is what actually I think that she was trying to relay to me, but I was not having it. So, melatonin is a hormone secreted in response to darkness, hence the name hormone of darkness. This is why it's called the hormone of darkness, or the sleep hormone. It's generated a great deal of interest, so a lot in like therapeutic modality for various diseases, and particularly sleep disorders. And if anyone's found any research on fibromyalgia and melatonin, please do send it over. I would love to kind of read through it. I've been kind of looking for more recent information, or if there's some even research when it comes to migraines, I would love to understand the relationship with melatonin. Melatonin has an anti-inflammatory property, an antioxidant, and it has protective effects. Its production increases with evening darkness, so it facilitates a transition to sleep. Light causes production to stop. So ideally, we want melatonin to be produced endogenously. I know some of us supplement with melatonin, and there's different science on this, like good or bad, and trying to figure it out. We ultimately, again, want to produce melatonin on our own. This is why it fascinates me to see if there's any research out there with fibromyalgia and melatonin, if there is some sort of genetic dysfunction with us and melatonin production potentially, or something else going on in its connection to melatonin, and even regulatory patterns with how we get deep sleep. I'm just curious. I have no idea. I need to dig more into it, but I was wondering if anyone out there actually had the information for me. So plasma melatonin is low during the daytime, or should be low during the daytime, and raises as bedtime approaches. So typically people get this raise 2 hours before a person's natural sleep onset. I've been diving into what that means with natural sleep onset, and apparently it's different for different people, which makes it quite difficult. So you might notice these patterns and how you get a second wave, or you're thinking, and there's a lot of focus on cortisol, and there's definitely a relationship between the both. And so all of this with the natural sleep onset will vary from individual, and genetics do play a role. So this is why it fascinates me. So some people may get that sleep onset earlier on, and then creating awareness and being aware of that, which I think I'm in that category. And it's very frustrating because I have noticed if I close my laptop and I stop working around 4 p.m., I have a tendency to sleep better as long as I don't get back onto the computer and my cell phone. So that's a hard reality for me. So I've created a lot of awareness on that and how I can configure. Lately, I've been on the screen way too late, which is probably why I'm having a lot of sleep issues. But melatonin can be suppressed by light exposure. And so there's two coordinating processes of homeostatic and circadian processes that promote our nighttime sleep. So one thing to look out for with fibromyalgia is the SCN does not produce an arousal that counters potentially the homeostatic sleepiness. So at one point in the early evening. So these are where we're looking for these balances in particularly fibromyalgia research itself. So I'm trying to understand more about it. So that's why I just wanted to make sure with understanding light exposure and why we might be counteracting it if we do take our cell phones to bed or we take some type of gadget. And I know you can minimize some of it with the night mode or putting amber glasses on, but if it's that close to your face, just remember these aspects, especially if you're struggling with sleep. It's important to understand, and it is something that I'm diving into. So I'll do more of a presentation on this if I can figure out natural light sources in the morning, versus and then trying to reduce some of the artificial lighting. Even angles of lighting is supposed to be a big thing for just helping with sleep. But I do recommend checking out Huberman Lab and his podcast on sleep. They're very good, they're very detailed, they have a lot of science to it. But I think it'll be helpful for you to create behavior change around it because sleep is such a big deal for so many of us. And get having this poor sleep cycle really does affect our pain levels, and even if you notice tight gut connection and other aspects of it. So that's kind of the nutshell for today of what I wanted to reach into and see what other people had to say. Same earplugs. Now, I have like, how do you manage with earplugs, Amanda? Does it bother you, or does anyone else get? Are there particular earplugs you utilize that are more comfortable? Turning off the phone. Okay, yeah, this sounds like me quite a bit. Is I don't know how people can sleep with the alerts on. I have friends that I remember in college or just different people, like when you're sharing a hotel room, and I would be like, "Oh my gosh." So I would literally get them. I would have to get up, and I was like, "I'm going to have to turn off the alerts on the phone." I don't know how people can sleep with that incessant, like, "Bing, bing, bing," like, oh, that's one thing. Yeah, I'm difficult to share a hotel room with because I do black out everything, so I'll use the hanger clip in the hotel room to close the blinds. I do not like that light shining in my face if it's way too early. We'll see once I adjust if that is the part of the natural light, but I don't want to be waking up early. So I cover things. I sometimes put a towel along the door line at the hotels to make sure no light is coming in. But those sounds, like the notification sounds on the phone, yeah, I can't sleep with that because it's just constantly like waking me up. So I definitely feel you on that. And I can't go back to sleep. And then if it keeps going, and I've had this discussion recently with Brandy, with all the managing sleep, getting comfortable, bedding. I know that she purchased something recently, so I'll have to have her share what it is. But I was like looking at different research on weighted blankets. I tried tested weighted blankets, but I've been kicking them off. So I probably something else underlying I need to address if I'm kicking off the weighted blanket or I need a heavier weighted blanket. I've heard that there's some cooling blankets. I was watching a video of someone that was doing some camping and it was very hot and humid. So she found a cooling blanket, which I haven't really dug into. So I got to go back through that and see what that does to help. So for people who have temperature dysregulations, because that can inhibit your sleep at night, you feel hot, cold, or you sleep with one foot out. Room temperatures are a big thing. So you make sure it's cooler in the rooms. There's some science about that. But definitely the light is a big thing. Yes, Amanda. It's tough because it's tough sharing a room, I'm sure, as a fibromyalgia patient and a chronic illness patient because we have so much in our protocol to do. And the hard part too, I travel with an amber nightlight because although you can't turn it off, is those bathrooms at the hotel where you walk in, the sensor turns on as soon as you walk into the bathroom. If you use the bathroom in the middle of the night and all the lights go on, I was like, oh, there's no way. I've even tried to turn it off, but I didn't want to create damage. So what I'll do is I'll travel with amber nightlight. So in case anybody has to use the restroom in the middle of the night, they do not turn on that light because it's so bright and you're trying to sleep and facing that direction too. It's just like, whoa. And so this is where we're talking about light in your face. It's definitely an adventure, sharing rooms with people and stuff like that. I think some people are really good about it. They'll just fall asleep. I'm like, how do you do that as a fibromyalgia patient? How do you just fall asleep and then you're You're good. So I'm curious. I think we really need to study some of the fibromyalgia patients that can get sleep. Is it because they are able to take something or they just are able to fall asleep better? They may not necessarily wake up rested, but I'm trying to understand like, okay, they just get to sleep and they are not light sleepers. So I've heard this across the board. Not everyone is the same. Not all of us are light sleepers. I am incredibly a light sleeper. So I can still oh, Amanda, I definitely okay. Mutes I have a t so I need to be able to hear. Okay, that makes sense, like, with kids too, that vigilance. I definitely applaud every one of you. I don't know how you work through with your sleep and raising children. Definitely when my stepson would come over and at 10 years old, we're trying to go through and you're just like, okay, that sense of vigilance, making sure. But fortunately for me, he was an awesome sleeper. So my significant other, my boyfriend and his son just pass out. Like they just sleep and it's awesome. So they can sleep in the car, and it's very fascinating to me to watch people and how they can just fall asleep easily, stay asleep, and then they'll just wake up naturally. But it's something I guess that's eluded me. That's probably why I've been so fascinated by it and diving into the brain a little bit more when it comes to especially sleep and being a health coach too and talking to people about sleep hygiene, you have to really layer all of the things on top of each other. And then sometimes it switches on you. So these are could be things from like some people can take a shower at night and it helps regulate their temperature to get better sleep. Other people will take a shower and it wakes them up. So it's interesting to see how to get better sleep when you can't necessarily just take something and it'll knock you out and then working with different supplements for what you need, I've noticed that they shift. So things like 5-HTP, when I was trying that, it worked, it helped really well. And now I think it's doing the opposite. So all of this stuff and how you layer in the techniques, keeping boundaries at night. I don't know if anyone's done this too. So, not taking stressful conversations at night. So, I have to say this a lot to people. Please, there's a cutoff point for it. And I think I have to decrease that time potentially. I'd be like, okay, it used to be more like, don't definitely do it around 9 p.m. I think I might take it down to like 6 p.m. That way, really just get mindful sleep, create a safe haven for you before you go to bed. Whatever you have to do in a sleep routine, just start to come up with it and layer it together. And I think for our functional medicine talk, we talked a little bit about it, and I have a worksheet if anyone's interested in having that as it's a sleep hygiene worksheet from the Institute of Functional Medicine. So I'd be happy to send anyone that's interested, just send me a message. And I think I can drop that as a PDF into most of our platforms, except for YouTube. You'll definitely have to email that to me. And I'll be glad to send you these sleep hygiene tips. I think a lot of us are aware and we're doing these things, but in coordination. And that's why I really wanted to talk about the light source and understanding the physiology in our brain of what's happening with light production and how we may be inhibiting our melatonin when we have the light source right in front of our face reading something before we're trying to go to bed. At least if you can put a TV, if you have to have the TV, further away and try those amber glasses in advance, like that might decrease it, but definitely right in front of your face. There's been a lot of research that shows it does create a lot of interruptive sleep. Even if you can fall asleep after that, what they're noticing is the quality of sleep gets thrown off. So also keep that in mind. But thank you so much. Happy Friday. And we're going to work through our brain fogs together. If anyone is doing anything fun for the long weekend, please let me know. But at least take the time to rest, take care of yourselves. And I will be checking in with you soon. Stay tuned. We have another workshop coming up with Brandy and with pain. It's Pain Awareness Month. So we will be sharing a lot of content on pain awareness from our blogging friends. Shout out to my several worlds for creating such amazing content for this month. So we'll be sharing a lot of content from her. We have interviews coming up. I need to get those done this weekend. We have recorded some wonderful interviews. So take a look if you are a California resident for that CBD study. We did get a chance to interview the principal investigator for the study and another person involved with the marketing and implementation of that study. We have another researcher we did an interview with, so stay tuned for that. And then the pain tools, if you have pain tools that you would like to share with our community, please, we are looking to do a blog roundup with all of you or anyone that has like a pain toolkit you feel that's helpful and you're willing to share. We want to do videos with it, but we're also going to do a blog post. So if you want to send it as far as written word with your picture, that would be awesome. So those are some of the things we're working on this month. We are coordinating that advocacy meeting finally with our advocacy teammates. And then again, look out for the Fibromyalgia conference. We are very, very focused and doing a lot of outreach for the conference. We want to make this awesome. It's going to be all virtual conference, free, a free conference for all attendees, bringing in fibromyalgia doctors, researchers, patient advocates. It is interactive, very immersive. You have a chance to network with each other. You have a chance to watch panels on the main stage. There'll be breakout sessions. So we're organizing it all together. That is November 4th and 5th. Stay tuned for some major announcements with that. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.